Hi there, so as time is of the essence in this series of workouts, I'm not going to do a huge intro, we're just going to get straight into setting up our machines and I'm going to talk about today's row during the warm-up. So let's get our machine set up first and go straight to resistance. Now what you want to look for is a resistance where you get a nice feeling from the stroke, but you don't have to heave against it, but at the same time you're not rowing through air. As an example, I have my Aviron set to 10. If I was rowing on the Concept 2 using the Aviron app, I would have my drag factor set to round about 130, 140. Next up, go to your foot stretcher height and set your feet at a point where you're able to come into the front of the machine with your shins in a vertical position comfortably. Too high, you can get a bit bound up, it's a bit difficult to get there. Too low, you can go scooting straight past and your backside escapes from underneath you. A good ballpark here is that the strap should cover the balls of your feet, which is often the bottom lace on your shoe, unless you're wearing Converse. So we're going to get into this 4-minute warm-up. I'm going to start off at a really nice low intensity, build up that intensity a little bit over 2 minutes, then we're going to break the stroke down and that's the warm-up done. Then we'll get straight into our main session. Crikey, I'm talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So if you're ready to get started with this warm-up, we'll get going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, so remember this is a warm-up, so it's a low intensity. I just want you to get your body moving and just moving through the right angles. So that means tilting forwards to a 1 o'clock angle at the front, arms straight, push with your legs, and then swing your back into an 11 o'clock angle and pull your arms in. And just start at an intensity that keeps your body moving, and over the course of these 2 minutes, I want you to build up the intensity so that it feels kind of as though you were walking up a set of stairs. Your heart rate starts to increase. Your breathing rate starts to increase. You know you're exercising, but it doesn't feel hard. It's what I call your comfortable steady state, okay? And don't worry, that's how we're starting today's main session, so if you can't quite find it, it's all right. Because what we're going to do is a stroke rate pyramid where we start at 20 strokes a minute at this intensity for 3 minutes, have a 30-second rest, then go up to 22 strokes a minute, 30 seconds rest, 24 strokes a minute, 30 seconds rest, and then back down to 22 and 20. And your intensity should increase as you go up the rates and decrease as you come back down the rates. It's a really handy way to get 20 minutes into your legs. It's a great workout to do. You'll feel energized, had a good workout, get on with the rest of your day. So in 2 strokes time, if you want to break down your stroke, I want you to take 1 foot out and place it on the ground. You can, of course, just continue rowing on your own. You don't have to follow me. But what this does is by putting 1 foot on the ground and continuing to row, it helps you with your flexibility coming into the front of the stroke and getting that shin to a vertical position because you've only got one hip holding you back. Let's take 1 more here. Hopefully it's eased off that leg so we can swap feet this time. Don't worry if it takes you a few seconds to do it. And just let this ease off the other leg, help you to compress into the front. Make sure to still push with that leg that's strapped in, just to make sure you're still putting in some effort. You don't want to start kind of getting cold. Let's take 1 more here and we're going to put both feet into the straps, tighten them up, then get your legs straight and row with your back and arms. So that means swing with your back, pull in your arms, and then release your arms and rock forwards over your hips again. This is such an important timing skill to get right. This is one of the reasons I prefer you always did the warm-ups. It's so that you can follow along with this and get the timing right. Let's take 1 more, and then we're going to roll into the front, arms straight, forwards tilt, and just push with your legs. Keep your arms straight, hold that forwards tilt as much as you can and push your legs. Arms straight, tilt forwards, push legs. Feel that power come from your legs, up through your body, into your arms, and you brace against the handle. Let's take one more here. And that's us done with today's warm-up. So have a quick drink, maybe wiggle your backside on the seat to ease any discomfort you may have, and then we'll quickly get started with today's 20-minute workout. Okay, then hopefully you had that quick drink and you're ready to go. Now we're going to start this first 3-minute interval off at 20 strokes a minute and at that low intensity. I'll talk more about how to kind of get a sensation for that intensity when we get going. So if you are ready, let's get started with our first interval in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Now maybe you're not used to rowing to certain stroke rates, in which case just follow me, drive when I drive, recover when I recover. I'll do my best to hold the stroke rates. 20 strokes a minute's an easy one to do because you just count up in threes. And you take 1 second drive, 2 seconds recover. So it's a faster drive, take your time on the recovery. And of course you'd want that, wouldn't you? You want to make sure that you are not working for as long as possible. So a good old drive and then let everything recover. And it lets you get back into the right position for each of your strokes. And remember that intensity, you're looking for it to feel like exercise, okay? That's the first thing to say. There's no point doing this and just limping through the stroke. It has to feel like you're putting effort into it, which is why I say it should feel the same as though you're climbing up loads of stairs. Because you know what it's like. You get surprisingly out of breath only a couple of flights up the stairs. Heart rate's up, and you're like, man, I need to go to the gym. But climbing upstairs is actually quite hard work, so that's what you're looking for. To be slightly out of breath, heart rate is up, and you know you're exercising. And if you were to give this a rating out of 10, rate of perceived exertion, it'd be about 5 out of 10, where 1 out of 10 is like just, I don't know, sitting on a couch, doing nothing, just being alive. So 5 still means you're exercising, but you could easily hold a conversation with somebody at this intensity. I mean, look at me. I've not stopped talking since we started. I'm a little bit out of breath, but it's just a nice workout. I can feel all of my muscles activating through the stroke. I can feel the force. My heart rate is up to 115 beats a minute. My resting heart rate's 40, so that shows you the range. And in 3 strokes time, we get our first rest. One more. Okay, so I'm gonna do an active rest, which means I'm not really gonna push with my legs, but I'm just gonna keep everything moving. You can have a drink if you want. Wiggle your backside on the seat if you want. Make sure you're comfortable. I'm gonna get going in 15 seconds. And what we're gonna do is try and increase the stroke rate to 22 strokes a minute. Okay, just a little bit faster. I'm gonna take one more little thing here, and here we go. You ready? Let's get going. So, all I want you to do is push a tiny bit harder with your legs here than you were before. And what that should do is give you a tiny bit of a faster drive speed, but it should also encourage a tiny bit faster recovery as well. And that is all it takes to get up to 22 strokes a minute. But the magic of this is it shouldn't feel that much harder than you were just rowing 20 strokes a minute, huh? But you should be going 2-3 seconds faster per 500 meters if that's how you are looking at your pace, or your watts will have gone up by a few if that's how you do it. And this is just by increasing your actual perceived exertion. It's probably still a 5, maybe a 6, depending on how experienced you are as a rower. But what you'll find is that the exertion will sneak up on you, and you'll get to the end of this 3-minute chunk, you'll compare it to the 20s, and you'll go, oh yeah, I was working a bit harder there. And the point of these 20-minute workouts is to always be honest about the effort you're putting in and what you want to get back out of it. Because of course you could do this session at maximum effort, push as hard as you can for 3 minutes, holding the stroke rates, take it up to like 9, 10 out of 10, and give yourself a real hard, sweaty workout. But the point of these ones is to build your body, is to change your fitness bit by bit through this 8-part series. And so I'm not going to grind you into the ground on every session. Okay, coming up for our next rest. One more stroke. There we go. Okay, so that's us in our next 30-second rest. And what we're going to do is go back down to that 20 strokes a minute and comfortable steady state intensity again. Like I said, this isn't a tough workout, this isn't a hard one. What it does is it takes you through these 3-minute chunks, which will help you work through the 20 minutes. Right, last one here. You ready? Let's get back into it again. So, 1 stroke every 3 seconds. And you'll probably notice that you are now rowing that 2 seconds slower again than before. But now that you've got almost 8 minutes in your legs, possibly you're now warm enough that you'll feel that you can actually row at that 22 strokes a minute pace. Hold that. Because it's the other point of a warm-up is to make sure that your body is nice and warm. And you find that as you go through these workouts and you get warmer, you can kind of reset your base pace. Often what I do is close my eyes and row just to how my body wants to row. So I kind of think, I want this to be 5 out of 10 feeling. So I'll close my eyes and I'll row. And I'll go, all right, okay, 155 pace. Rather than letting the monitor dictate. It's like the tail wagging the dog. So this all goes back to me saying you get out of these sessions what you put in. This isn't meant to be a really hard, leave you on the floor session. They're still to come in this series. This is just about letting you work through a 20-minute row, which maybe you've never done this before. Maybe you've never lasted 20 minutes at once. Maybe you have never explored how different stroke rates change the intensity that you're rowing at. Maybe you've always just climbed on and mashed away for 10 minutes, and focusing on stroke rate and quality of what you're doing has made you realize, this is a great way to spend 20 minutes. I mean, that's 10 minutes coming up, isn't it? So, great stuff. Okay, 3 more strokes time, and we'll take our next 30-second rest. 1 more. Okay, and I'm just going to continue moving. Now, next up, we're going to push harder still. We're going to take it up to 24 strokes a minute. And what I really want you to do is be a good 5 or 6 seconds faster than you were just rowing at 20 strokes a minute. But we're only doing this one for 2.5 minutes, okay? So that's a good thing. Okay, 1 more of these little baby strokes from me. You ready? Let's get into 2.5 minutes worth of 24 strokes a minute. Again, if you're using a timer to try to find your rhythm for the stroke, then this one is just 1 stroke every 2.5 seconds. Remember, it's slightly faster drive speed, but definitely a faster recovery. It's usually your recovery to the front of the machine that controls your stroke rate. So it's about getting the handle away, then your body rocking forwards, and then your knees bending. That way, you've got a nice fluid rhythm, and you always come into the front of the machine in the same position. Arms straight, forwards tilt, and then push with the legs to start the stroke, then swing your back and finish with your arm pull. If you look down at your arms and you see them pulling from the front, try not to do that. Try to keep them straight as you push your legs. You'll get a much better workout that way. Okay, 30 seconds to go in this one. And then we'll take our rest again. And then back down to 20 strokes a minute again. Okay, 2 more, 1 more, and let's take that rest. Remember, have a drink in these 30-second rests if you need to. I make sure to hydrate as well as I can before I start these rows so that I don't have to drink and you don't have to listen to me drinking. Okay, I've got 9 seconds to go. 2 more of these little baby strokes. And then back to 20 strokes a minute again for 3 minutes. And try and get right back to that pace that you were before. So in my case, that means I want to get back to 155 pace. So the point of these sessions, the reason that they're structured as they are, is that I know how hard it is to carve out time for yourself and for fitness. And the last thing you need is some ambiguity over how long you're going to be training for. Maybe you've got kids that are milling around you and they want dinner in half an hour's time or something. Something means that you can only dedicate a half-hour portion of your day to exercise. And so what you need is to know that there's something structured in front of you that you can do within that half hour that is going to work you or give you the chance to work as hard as you want to, and that by the end of it you feel satisfied with it. Because when you find that, you come back to it. So you do this workout, it fits into your half-hour slot, you feel satiated, you've ticked the exercise box for your day, and so you're more likely that when the next day comes and you have that half-hour window, because it's sitting here waiting for you, you can just come back and pick up either the same workout or another one in the series. I mean, there's something to be said about working outside of your comfort zone in order to see improvements. However, I also think that the comfort of routine, especially if you're trying to get back to fitness or exercise, is more valuable. You know, it's waiting for you like a comfy pair of slippers. 3 more strokes, and then we will take another 30-second rest. Okay, let's take that rest. And of course, if anybody else calls me a comfy pair of slippers, I don't know if I take that as a compliment or not. But hopefully it is. I mean, the point of what I do is I talk away to you through these sessions about what we're doing, a bit about technique, and a bit of random stuff, just to keep you engaged for the 20 minutes. Because as it is, in 2 strokes time, we're going to hit our last interval. So, are you ready? We're going back up to 22 strokes a minute to finish. So it's not the hardest of the intervals. It's also not the easiest of the intervals. It's just finishing with a nice increased intensity that you can hit this one as hard as you want. If you want to spend this 3 minutes pushing your feet into the machine as hard as you can, really hanging off that handle and then pulling into a solid, powerful finish, and really get your heart rate up and your exertion levels up, then please do. It's your workout. Just like I've said it through this one, you get out what you put into it. So if you want a really hard session, then just let me be your metronome and you push it as hard as you want. But if you work through this series from start to finish, you'll find that there'll be enough variety of intensity over the 8 workouts that you don't need to go rogue. Just follow me. There's so many different ways to row and keep it interesting. The only thing that should really stay a constant is your technique. So that's why you'll find I do talk technique quite a lot. But to be honest, got a lot of the time. It's a reminder to myself. The technique thing is that I can see myself reflected in the screen on this Aerobic, so I can see when I'm doing a strange shoulder roll, or if I'm pulling my arms too soon, which I don't tend to do, but I can sometimes find I swing my back too soon, and so I can see it clearly. So if you don't have a monitor like mine in front of you, it's a good idea to put a mirror in front of you so you can watch yourself rowing. All right then, 10 seconds to go. Let's see how many strokes I can fit in. 2 more. 1 more. Okay, so we'll just have a quick pause. I'm gonna have a drink this time. And then we'll get into a 2-minute cool down. I'll just pause for a second more. You ready? You good? Okay. We're just gonna do this at a low intensity again, and we're gonna gradually slow down this time. Basically, the opposite of the first 2 minutes of the warm up. All right, so here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're off. So get back to your 20 strokes a minute pace for maybe 10 strokes. You want your muscles to continue to activate, pump the blood through them, flush out any lactic acid that may have accumulated during that row. And then, now that we're 30 seconds in, you can start to ease off. And what I'd suggest is just don't push as hard with your legs. Because when you push a bit softer, then you will brace a little softer against the handle, and then your upper body isn't working as hard either. Because remember, your legs are what control the power going into the machine. When you push the legs and you have a braced core, the power goes up through your posterior chain, and that's how you're able to hang off the handle, brace against it, let your legs do the initial work, then your back, and then you finish with that pull of the arms. And you might be like, oh, he's still talking technique. But the truth is, at this stage, when you're easing off, this is when you should really have time and brain space to focus on your technique, so that the next time you come and sit down for a row, your body thinks, I remember how I finished last time, hopefully with perfect form. Okay, less than 10 seconds to go. 2 more strokes. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much for joining me for this workout. I hope you got a good, hope your breathing rate's up, heart rate's up. Mine certainly was. That felt like a great workout for me. It means I can go on and do some more stuff, or if this was the end of my day, that would be a great way to finish it. Or if I was coming back from injury or whatever, that would be a perfect row to start me back up into my training again. Who knows how you would have used that? Hopefully it's worked for you, and hopefully you'll check out the other rows in this series. So thank you once again for joining me. Please look after yourselves. Row well, be well. Bye-bye.